Welcome to From A to G. This week we're chatting with the amazing Max Avery about how he started with music, how he felt from being in a band to going solo. We also discussed the difficulties of trying to grow an audience while being stuck at home. Check out the Twitter or Instagram for regular updates about the show. On Instagram, I asked who I was recording with, and I said the funniest answer I got I would give a shout out on this episode. So here it is. The shout out goes to Dave the Pirate Captain with his answer, who was I recording with? The reanimated corpses of Lennon and Thatcher. As much as I would love that to happen, it was not the correct answer, but it was the funniest answer. So shout out to Dave the Pirate Captain. Enough from me, let's get on with the episode.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Spot on, perfect.
It worked. How you doing, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. It's a cold, tired morning in Scotland, so...
Oh, is that where you are?
Yeah, that's where I am. I'm usually in Manchester, but I'm back at my parents', so...
Oh, okay.
Whereabouts are you?
Portsmouth.
Oh, Portsmouth.
Right down the south coast.
Yeah, oh, nice.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, let's get right into it. Thank you for coming on, Max. It's great to hear from you. Like, when did you kind of start out doing music?
I started doing music probably 11 years ago.
Oh, man.
11 or 12 years ago. Yes, the story went that me and a couple of friends went to Wickham Festival, which is our local festival. It's sort of like a medium-sized, it's probably about 15, 20,000. So It's not like one of the major ones, but it's fairly big. And they had a local stage there. It was like local artists playing their own stuff. And watching this stage, and probably about 10 beers in. And as you do at festivals, and we were like, drunkenly said, "Oh, we could do that next year. We could do this." And I'd never written a song, never sung in my life. I could barely play the guitar. One of my mates could strum a few chords, and my other mate, he's Kenyan. He basically plays the kitchen sink at parties and things like that, and the wall, and any flat surface he can find. So, cut a long story short, I learned a few chords on the guitar and started writing some songs, and none of the others would sing. So I was pushed into a corner where I had to sing. So we got booked for this local stage. We played it, scraped together half a set, went down well. And then it sort of snowballed from there, really. Same festival the following year. And then again, drunkenly one year, we said, let's try and play the main stage, which is a huge, big top 10. So 4 years later, we got booked for the main stage.
Oh, nice.
Last year being the last year. And then Jack, the guitarist in the band, he had a baby, which obviously takes priority over music. Thought we'd sort of end on a high, really. That was our last gig, playing the main stage at Wickham. And then it was always in the back of my mind that I didn't really want to stop playing music because, I love it. So I thought...
It hooks you.
Yeah, so I thought, why not embark on this solo thing? So recorded a song, put it out, and then, gradually built up a little bit of a following on Instagram, and then COVID happened.
Oh,
So I only really played a couple of solo shows this year. But yeah, that's sort of my musical background. So I played in pretty much the band for the last 10, 11 years.
I do love, like, a lot of stories I have on here do start with, well, we're having a few drinks.
It always does. Never sung, couldn't play an instrument, let's start a band.
and here you are, like, 11 years later, you released a song 3 weeks ago and you get 10,000 streams. Like, not bad at all. Yeah,
it's great. I never thought it would pick up that much traction. It's difficult enough to promote your music when you can gig, but obviously when you're locked in your house, it's near on impossible. So the only access you've got to people really is the internet. So thankfully people have liked it. Yeah.
First of all, I have to say the new song Mirror, love it. It's spot on.
Thank you.
Love it. Not only that, not only are you amazing in it, the production is so good as well. I love a song with some great production. Who did that? Who mixed it?
It's my friend Nick. He's got a studio down here, Key West. I've worked with him ever since I've really been putting out music. He's produced all of it. So I went in there with a demo. Over lockdown, I've sort of learnt the piano, and that was the first song I wrote on piano. So yeah, I went in there with this very rough demo and said, this is the song. I love the song. Obviously, it needs a lot of work. It's a basic sort of chord structure. There's not much to it because I don't class myself as a virtuoso musician or anything like that. I think my skill lies within songwriting. Playing these instruments just allows me to do that, really. So I went in there with this demo and I told him how I wanted it to sound, because I wanted the music to match the power of the lyrics, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to be too stripped back. I wanted it to be a powerful song. And 3 days, I think that took us. 3 days in the studio. Finally got it together. Yeah. But he's Nick's a talented guy. It helps being on the same wavelength with someone in the studio who knows what you're trying to achieve, instead of him trying to sort of take his production a different direction to the sound I wanted. But it seemed to have always worked.
That is one thing about when you go in the studio, you do kind of need to have an idea of where you're going, or else you do just end up in somewhere else you don't want to be.
Yeah, and we're mates, so I can be honest with him, and
you can tell him when it's a bit shit.
Yeah, exactly. But 9 times out of 10, his ideas, even if it's as subtle as a single chord change, or a step down the guitar or whatever, it seems to always add to it. But he's good.
Shout out to Nick.
Yeah, shout out to Nick Bowen.
One thing I have to ask, because I've never released any of my own music. I've always been part of a band.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I've never done it is because I'm always I guess maybe nervous to kind of put my own ideas out there and kind of share my feelings. How did you find that when you first kind of released
it is exposing in one way, putting your feelings out there, but it's obviously down to you what you write about. So most of my songs I write aren't in first person. They're not generally things that have happened to me personally. However, it's usually a feeling that's conjured up from somewhere, or maybe a story I've heard from somewhere, and then drawing on that tends to be the music I write, as opposed to personal first-hand experiences. I wouldn't say it's something that I hide behind, but it's also not something that has happened to me.
Yeah.
So if I'm putting stuff out, and that's the beauty of songwriting and putting music out, that it opens up to interpretation, and whoever's listening to it can apply their own interpretation and feelings to it. Whether they think it's me, whether they think that's happened to me, then I've not got an issue with that. But it's just people. I think the trick is getting people to relate to what you're saying, as opposed to thinking that particular song has happened to you or whatever, whether it's a breakup song or whatever. So I think, as long as people can relate to it and it triggers some sort of emotion in them, then I'm happy.
So how have you kind of found it trying to grow your fan base, especially right now during the whole lockdown?
Having the experience from the band and stuff, it wasn't like I was fully starting from scratch and going in blind to it. Obviously did have contacts and people that I could draw upon, like Nick for production. I work with people who do the artwork, obviously been helpful. But trying to grow anything is difficult, isn't it? But especially music, because it's so subjective, and whether people like it or not, it's really difficult. The hardest bit about it is there's no set way of doing it. It's sort of a trial and error thing. You could put out a song that no one likes, and it's not going to get much traction at all. But on the other hand, you could put something out, and then suddenly it's getting played everywhere. I think it's just hit and miss, I think.
No, I absolutely get what you mean.
Yeah, but it's obviously a lot more difficult if you're not gigging, because that's what people love. That's what I love.
Yeah.